What if the biggest thing keeping you stuck isn't that you haven't found the right answer? It's that you've been asking the wrong question. When we're diagnosed with a chronic illness or an autoimmune disease, almost all of us begin asking the same question: how do I fix this? And honestly, it makes perfect sense. We want our lives back. We want the pain to stop. We want our energy back. We want to feel like ourselves again. But after more than 20 years of my own healing journey, and after over 140 conversations with doctors, practitioners, researchers, and incredible people who have overcome unbelievable health challenges, I've come to believe that while that question is understandable, it may not be the question that moves us forward. Welcome back to the HealthBridge podcast. I'm your host, Holly B. If you're new here, this is the podcast where we explore holistic healing for women with autoimmune disease and chronic conditions by looking at mind, body, and soul so you can build a healthier and more vibrant life. Last week, I shared how my understanding of healing has evolved from chasing protocols to discovering the foundational pillars of health to realizing that the deepest foundation is the relationship we have with our own body. And today, I'm going to build on that idea because once we stop fighting our body, something else has to change: the questions that we're asking. So today we're going to explore why the questions we ask shape the way we heal, why some questions keep us trapped in fear, and how one simple shift can completely change the way we experience our healing journey. Be sure to listen until the end because we're going to answer the question: if "how do I fix this" isn't the best question, what should I be asking instead? Look, when something scary happens, our brain immediately tries to solve the problem. That is not weakness. That's just survival. That's how our brains and our nervous system are built. So imagine getting diagnosed, or imagine you have been experiencing strange symptoms that you can't figure out. What do you do first? You start to Google search. You ask ChatGPT. You start searching on Facebook groups. You start talking to your friends and family. You start asking everybody who's experienced something similar, well, what worked for you? You start ordering those supplements. You start looking for specialists. You go to the doctor. You're asking one question over and over: how do I fix this? And that question makes perfect sense. There's nothing wrong with it. It's the question that every frightened human is going to have. I remember over 20 years ago now when I first came down with a really intense case of mono, and I was technically through the mono, but I just still wasn't feeling good. I was still getting sick all the time. I was still super, super run down. And I kept asking that question: how do I fix this? What's going on? Is there something still wrong with me? So I kept going back to the doctor, not finding much help there, getting a diagnosis of, oh, you probably have chronic fatigue syndrome because we can't find anything else wrong with you. It'll probably go away on its own in a couple of years. That's really the help that I got. I started searching outside of that box. I started looking for other practitioners that might be able to help. I started looking at other modalities. I started seeking out different protocols. Eventually, I ended up going to herb school so I could see if I could learn to heal myself with the plants around me. Then I started working in an integrative pharmacy and I started learning about this supplement and that herbal formula and this vitamin formula. And I was always seeking out the missing piece. What was that missing piece that is going to fix my problem? There's so much emotional energy behind that. It is so taxing, right? You're constantly seeking, constantly looking for the answer that you just can't seem to find. And behind the emotional energy, there's so much physical energy that goes into that too, just to support the searching. And while I wouldn't say I always acknowledged being run by fear in those searches, It was definitely the underlying layer behind it. Fear that I would not find the answer. Fear that this was just how it was going to be for the rest of my life. Urgency that if I don't figure this out soon, my whole life is going to pass me by and I'm never going to feel better. Desperation that I'm never going to be able to keep up with my friends and family and the life that I want to create. And that made hope a little difficult to hold on to because I was constantly being run by those seeds of fear. After years and years of going through that cycle over and over, never finding the answer, I eventually realized in hindsight that I wasn't just searching for healing, I was searching for certainty. I wanted something that I could just sink into and know that this was going to be the path to take me from symptom management to a life worth living. So, why do questions keep us stuck? And especially the question, how do I fix this? Well, questions create filters, right? Your brain is always going to look for evidence to answer whatever question you ask. I actually did a whole podcast series on this about cognitive bias. So if you want to deep dive into that, I will link those episodes in the show notes. But for example, if I am asking, why is my body broken? What is my brain going to kick into gear? It's going to start collecting evidence of why my body's broken. Oh, that's a new symptom. That's why your body's broken. Oh, your lab work didn't look ideal. Body's broken. Oh, you're stuck in another fatigue flare. Body's broken. Pain, body broken. All your brain is trying to do is confirm that your body's broken because you're asking, why is it broken? You've already confirmed just in that question that your body's broken and you're looking for the answer why. You're not asking to find the root cause of what is underlying your symptoms, right? So it's all about wording. So if I ask, why can't I heal? Guess what my brain finds? All the reasons why I can't. It's not searching for the reasons why I can heal because that's not the question that I asked. It's not positive thinking, right? It's just how our brains are wired to work. But let me give you an analogy. You guys all know about algorithms. Say you're scrolling through Instagram and something catches your eye, one of the posts catches your eye, so you click on that reel and you listen to the whole thing and you like it. Well, guess what? More of that topic is going to start showing up on your feed. And the more attention you give to it, the more it's going to show up. The more attention, the more it shows up. The more attention, the more it shows up. That's how it's built. Your brain is kind of the same way. Whatever you're searching for, your brain is going to give you more of, just like Google would, just like Instagram would. Let me give you another example. I finally this year had to retire my 2001 Nissan Altima, which I loved it dearly, but after 25 years, she just couldn't go anymore. So I ended up buying a car that is this beautiful blue gray color. And I know there's a lot of cars out there right now that are in that kind of subtle gray range, but I hadn't seen one that was this particular color of this like blue gray. And suddenly, now that I'm driving her, I am seeing that color everywhere. You guys, everywhere. Were those cars on the road prior to me getting this one? Yes, of course they were. It's just that now my brain is trained to notice them, whereas before I wasn't paying attention. So I finally realized through all the hindsight and through all the learning I've done around neuroplasticity is that I realized I needed to ask better questions, not look for better answers. So for the rest of this conversation, I want you to come back to this understanding that the quality of our healing is shaped by the quality of the questions we ask about it. So as I started to learn this, as I started to realize I needed to shape my questions better, I stopped asking questions like, how do I stop this? I began asking questions like, what is my body trying to communicate with me? I'm not saying that every symptom has to have a deeper meaning. We can certainly look at it that way and we can certainly dive into that more. But if that doesn't resonate with you, we don't need to over spiritualize illness, right? Sometimes your symptom just means that you're dehydrated. It doesn't mean that you have a past life trauma that you need to heal. Sometimes you're just sick. Sometimes medication is exactly what you need, but our bodies are always communicating with us. So maybe you're exhausted because you've ignored your limits and you've crossed over your boundaries and you've said yes way too many times instead of saying, no, I need to rest. Maybe you can look and see that you've allowed stress to continue building in your life. Maybe you just need to rest. Maybe you need to find more joy in your daily activities. And maybe inflammation is real. And all of these things can be true at once. The point isn't to nitpick and decode every single symptom. The point is to become really curious instead of adversarial to all of your symptoms, instead of adversarial to every single thing that points your cognitive bias back to my body is broken. Using myself as an example, when I'm currently experiencing symptoms, instead of asking, how do I fix this? Now I will ask, what is my body trying to communicate? So, yes, lupus is in remission. That doesn't mean I don't have any symptoms at all. Yes, chronic fatigue is in remission. That doesn't mean that I don't still experience it if I am not careful. So, when I start to have any symptoms of fatigue or flare ups of any kind, what can I look back on? Well, have I been stressed? Yeah. Yeah, I've been stressed. If I don't keep that under wraps, that will trigger symptoms for me. Is there something going on at work? Is there something going on in my relationship? Is there something going on in my family? Is the world just feel like a little chaotic right now? Have I been working too hard and trying to do too much? Recently, I have been overdoing it a bit. I've been saying yes to things because they resonate, even knowing that it was going to put extra stress and extra load on me. So, the Beljanski Integrative Cancer Conference that I volunteered for a few weeks ago and did a recent podcast about my experience there. I work a regular job Monday through Thursday all day long. I still do my podcast. I still work on my coaching and saying yes to the cancer conference because it was something I was passionate about and really wanted to help with. Took me from morning till night, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then right back to work the next week on Monday. All of that while my boyfriend is out of town, so I've got extra house responsibilities and all of the life things that now I don't have that extra hand in. And did that run me down? Yeah, it did. But instead of saying, "How can I fix this?" I can very much acknowledge the choices that I made that led up to it and why I was so fatigued in that following week and a half where I was trying to find the time to recover from it, right? So let's look at better daily questions that we can focus on when we have symptoms, when we have a diagnosis, or if there's just something that feels a little bit off and you're not really sure what. This is where we can get really practical. The question is not just, what is my body saying? Because you may not have developed that relationship yet with your body to be able to decode what it's saying. So instead, start with this every morning. Just start by asking, how can I support my body today? It's so beautifully simple. And some of those answers might look like drinking more water, drinking some electrolytes, It might be going to bed earlier. It might be taking a nap at lunch or going for a walk after you eat dinner. It might be taking your medication, maybe going to therapy, maybe eating breakfast with a focus on protein and healthy fat. It might mean saying no to something, even if it's something you really want to do. It might mean asking for help when everything just feels a little too overwhelming or too heavy or just too much. It could mean calling a friend and just having somebody to unload some things off of your chest, right? Support doesn't have to be dramatic and it can come from both inside the house and outside the house, right? It can come from within and you can work to ask others for help when you need it. To tie this back to the previous episode where I was talking about realizing the deeper foundations of health, these questions, these are the visible parts of the bridge. This is the mindset work that we do. And this is just a small portion of it. I go much deeper with my clients. But this gives you an idea of what that mindset pillar is all about. Now, the support that is underneath that, that deeper foundational support that I mentioned in the previous episode, is partnership. It's the partnership that we develop with our body as we are going through hardship. So, in closing, I want you to imagine waking up tomorrow and instead of asking, what do I need to fix today? Or, as I know, I woke up for so many years thinking, what's wrong with me today? I want you to ask instead, how can I support my body today? How can I support my mental health today? How would your day feel different if that is how you started your morning? Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I truly hope today's conversation encourages you for the next time fear starts asking the questions for you. Remember, instead of immediately asking, how do I fix this? I hope that you'll pause and ask yourself, how can I support my body today? Sometimes that looks like nourishing food. Sometimes it's getting outside for some sunshine and taking a walk. Sometimes it's asking for help, setting a boundary, getting some extra rest, or simply speaking to yourself with just a little bit more compassion. Healing isn't built through one perfect decision or finding the right answer. It's built through thousands of small moments where we choose partnership with our bodies over fear. If today's episode resonated with you, I would love to hear from you. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave me a comment below and answer the question, what's one question that you've been asking yourself that you are ready to replace? Or tell me, what's one way you can support your body today? I will definitely be reading the comments and I'd love to continue the conversation with you there. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, I would be super grateful if you would follow the show and leave a rating or a review. It really helps get these conversations more reach so that women who really need hope and encouragement on their healing journey can find us. And if somebody came to mind while you were listening to this today, would you please share the episode with them? You never know how one conversation or one new question could completely change someone's perspective. If you'd like support between episodes, you can download my free daily Thrive Guide and Wellness Tracker, where I will help you build simple, sustainable habits that support healing one day at a time. And if you're ready for more personalized guidance, I'd love to invite you to schedule a healing breakthrough session with me. In that session, we'll talk about where you are currently, what's keeping you stuck, and what your next step should look like. Thank you again for being here. Until next time, remember this: the quality of our healing is often shaped by the quality of the questions we ask. So choose one today that moves you a little bit closer from fear to partnership and from partnership to freedom. Every bridge needs a strong foundation that you can't see. My hope is that together we'll build one that's strong enough to carry you from fear to freedom. I'll see you soon in the next episode of the HealthBridge podcast.